Okay, so next we've got Richard Giles, or for the Twitterers, Richard_Giles, is that right? No. One word, Richard Giles, there you go, that shows me. Okay, so Richard has been involved in online communities since bulletin board systems in the 80s and the internet since 1994. When he built corporate websites, lectured about online commerce at Curtin University and sold corporate internet connections. He won an award for podcasting and launched Scouter and Recommendation Ventures, which were listed in BRW's Australia's top 10 web applications in 2008. Called the Network Marketer by BRW, Richard is now the Internet Specialist for CPSU/CSA, is the Vice Chairman for the Australian Web Industry Association and consults to a number of organisations about social media and the Internet. He has recently started a new role as Senior Strategic Planner for Adapter, a company focused on mobile communications. So tonight he's going to be talking about likely developments and trends in digital media and useful resources to take away. So please welcome Richard.
So I was slightly wrong because I've moved on. I'm now at Adapter. I'm not at the CPSU CSA anymore. But anyway, I also realised that I picked the wrong colours. I should have gone for dark blue and light blue because I hear they work better. So anyway, I'm here to talk a bit about the future, but where are we now? I think we've heard quite a bit of it from Tim, and probably what I'll do is reiterate a bit. So digital media, I guess we all kind of know about it now. It's in the media all the time. But I want to go through some of the stats, and some of them are a bit similar to Tim, but some of them are slightly different. But they cover it off in a good way and kind of give us an idea of just how big things are. So anyway, we've got 3 million. So 3 million minutes of video are uploaded to YouTube every day. Got 200 million minutes of Angry Birds are played every single day. That's 380 years in a day people play Angry Birds, which is pretty unreal. 750 million photos were uploaded to Facebook over the weekend of New Year, this last New Year. 8 billion, now I know it's reached over 10 billion now, but 8 billion apps were downloaded last year alone from iTunes. Just iTunes, and I think they're predicting about 18 billion apps to be downloaded by the end of this year, in total, just in a year. And this is kind of a small number now, but 10 billion songs were downloaded up to the beginning of last year from iTunes. And it took them that long to get there, right? But now, obviously, it doesn't take that long with apps. So anyway, where are we going? This is kind of more the interesting bit, the stuff that I like to think about a lot. And I guess I don't need to explain, there's this massive boom, we've all seen it, why do we want to be a part of it? Well, it's a big opportunity, right? So mobile has already been described quite a bit. I think everybody probably knows that mobile is going to be a big boom area. One of the interesting stats recently that we've heard is that mobile broadband subscribers have actually overtaken fixed line broadband subscribers, which is pretty significant. And I guess one of the things that we all wonder about is, can we do these sort of things here in Perth? And so the next part of what I want to talk about is a little bit of something that I've been involved with. We're working on a project to produce an app. Now, it hasn't been released yet, so all of you guys are getting to see a whole bunch of stuff that nobody's seen before. And the way it came about was I was having a conversation with somebody in Japan, a developer called Adrian, who has done some work with Twitter and a whole bunch of other people. And he expressed an interest in coming to Perth, so there are people that want to come and live here. And I suggested that what would be a good way is if he actually, develop something, put something together, and that'll get some attention. So we kind of left it at that, and he noticed one day when I tweeted that I hated some of these new mobile-based news apps here in Australia, I guess he suggested that I put my money where my mouth was, and suggested that I come up with a better idea. So it didn't take me long to conceptualise something that I'd been thinking about for a while anyway, because I'd been doing a bunch of stuff on Twitter anyway, and suggested that we produce an app that produces headlines based on what people are currently talking about, in this case on Twitter. So what the app actually does, and if you want to have a look, you can come and have a look later on, it'll grab what's actually trending at the moment. So on the left, well, you can actually see the mobile one, which we sort of have developed first, and it just produces a list of the current sort of top news items. Behind that, you can actually see the iPad version, which we've only just sort of put together in the last week or so. And I use this, I guess, as an example of something that you can do if you just get out there and do it. And it's something that we can do here in Perth, and it's not something that's pie in the sky and something that only people can do in San Francisco. Another trend, location. I think we've all heard about it. Only a few people checked into Foursquare when they got here, but there's more to it than just Foursquare. Speaking of Foursquare. So Foursquare, for those people, how many people use Foursquare? How many people don't know what Foursquare is? Okay, good. It means I can explain it. So Foursquare enables you to check in. So you have a mobile phone, or in fact you could probably do it from your PC as well. You go to a location and you can say, I'm checking in. Now the beauty of it is that you get to share that with your friends, and other people get to know where you're out and about and doing this and that. But it also provides badges. And so there's a bit of a game around it, so the more badges I can get and the mayorships that I can have. But all of that's kind of irrelevant, really, when you think about the longer term repercussions, which is where they're starting to head now, which is recommendations. And so it provides recommendations for restaurants, cafes, pretty much anything in the local area. So if you are interested in a cafe, you can have a look and you can find out where most people go. And so those types of things are the fascinating things that are popping out of location. So not just checking in for the sake of checking in, but checking in for the masses, so that everybody can kind of get an idea of what's great, where is everybody at? So that leads me into personalisation, which is a topic that I'm passionate about. The company that I had previously was a startup focused on personalisation around recommendations. Now, it can get really interesting with personalisation, and this is actually, you can't really see at the top because it's chopped off a bit, but it's a Wired magazine in the UK, it talks a lot about technology, but I guess more from a human perspective. So this here, they didn't send out a personalised version to everybody. They only sent out a personalised, and I guess I'm calling it personalised. Some people might call it something else. But a personalised version was sent to a bunch of people, and they haven't really said how many it was sent to. But what they did was they found out details about them that they could easily find out. So they went to some of the UK government departments and found out information, and they also found out information from some of the personal networks, and then created the magazine cover specifically for them. So as you can see, he's talking about, we hope all is well at Channel 4 News, because that's where they work, and your 29th birthday will be on this date, and you've moved house from here, and your parents moved as well, and the interesting part comes at the bottom, because he wasn't quite sure how in the world they knew that he'd met up with his ex-boyfriend on the 6th of January. But then he realised, he'd actually tweeted about it. And so they scraped all of this and created a whole bunch of magazines specifically for a bunch of people. They also did a magazine in the US, I think a few years ago, where they sent it out and had a picture of the person who was receiving it, had a picture of their face, and it also had like an arrow pointing to their house on a Google map. So all sounds spooky, right? But this is normal. This is, the world today is, there's way more information out there. Now it all sounds bad, but there are some extremely useful applications involved, and recommendations coming of that is one of them. Also, just actually to talk about localization, in the US, there's a a group called Blue Brain, which had, they're a bunch of musicians, and they've done some interesting things before, but they're about to release an album that is available, I think, only on the iPhone. But you'll be able to go to a particular part, I think in Washington, where it's a tourist attraction, and you can go and have a look at different sections of this tourist attraction. When you play the app and you're listening to the music, it will actually change the tune and change the music depending on your location. And that will change also, obviously, depending whether or not you're running through it, so you get a different experience to if you just sort of, take a wander through the actual the memorial as well. So as you can see, the localization, personalization doesn't have to be spooky. It can actually be, quite unique. So simplicity is the next one, and it's actually fascinating because I was looking for something really simple, and I came across this red paperclip. And who heard about the guy that traded a red paperclip all the way up to a house? Yeah, anyway, I discovered that was his paperclip that he used, which I thought was quite cool. But simplicity was, an intriguing concept, I thought, and paperclips kind of sum that up quite well. Now, I guess one of the things that I've discovered recently is that mobile apps are really useful, and I guess we all have. And there was a really good article written by somebody from Forrester who was talking about the fact that people now expect everything to be as simple to use as Angry Birds. And that's really the trend, right? I mean, people are expecting these things, and it's, I guess, generated from the iPod with just one button. And it's migrated all the way through to the iPhone and the apps, and people are just expecting this simplicity just about everywhere. So people are starting to use these in really interesting ways, and this is actually a company that hasn't started yet, but they're I guess set to start later on in the year, called Bank Simple. And there's a few of them from Twitter, I think, that have actually joined up, and the idea is to make banking simple, right? Doesn't sound that hard, but how come nobody's done it yet? Now, they developed their app, their mobile app first, and they've used that to develop the rest of the website that they've got, which I think is a unique idea. Not many people are doing that. Everybody's kind of generated their website and then developed their mobile app. But the idea is literally to keep things really, really simple and focused on the customer. And so you can see some examples there of, I want to buy a new MacBook, so, how far away am I from obtaining that?